anything and everything in Krishna's service. So that's the secret. Do we have any questions?
No.
No questions? Huh?
No.
Is there a tradition that sannyasis can't use fire?
Mike.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
No, take the mic.
Is there a tradition that sannyasis can't use fire?
It's not that they can't use fire. It's that they should not cook for themselves. So some traditions, there are different traditions of sannyasis. Some traditions or lines of sannyas, they only cook for themselves. They don't beg. And others, they never cook for themselves. They only beg. So it just depends, like, which particular line of sannyas somebody is in. One of them says, well, I shouldn't accept any service from others. So I'll only cook for myself. I won't beg. But then if someone wants to preach, pretty much they have to accept service from others. They have to take food from others. You see. So when someone's in the Kutichak or Bahudak stage of sannyas, they usually cook for themselves. Or maybe even accept meals at home. But when one is in the Parivrajaka-charya stage of sannyas, he is traveling all the time and preaching. So he generally accepts food from others. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he became sannyasi, he was traveling. So he would accept invitations from brahmanas because he had no chance. Or sometimes he would take one servant with him if he was on the road, and the servant would cook for him. Like that. But then when he went to Jagannath Puri, he was taking temple prasadam all the time. There was no need to cook, either him or his servants. They were simply relishing devotional service to Krishna without a break. So our sannyas in our line is you just do whatever's practical. When I was living alone in the woods, I cooked for myself. When I was living at home, I cooked for myself. Well, when I was traveling or in temples, I just ate temple prasadam. Now I eat the prasadam that you guys prepared. It's very nice. You should come and taste it. It's really good.
No more questions on that?
No questions from the participants?
Question from Navayama.
Okay. Grab the mic.
Oops.
Don't do that. Don't drag the cord like that.
Earlier you were talking about how each soul has a specific service, and that quality is manifested in our personality, but we can't make out which is an eternal trait and which is a temporary part of our personality. Does something special happen if we stumble upon it, or is there just no way to tell?
Well, how are you going to stumble upon it?
Like suppose my eternal service is playing the flute, and I've never played a flute before, and someone puts a flute in my hand, and then do I start to play the flute and get some special pleasure from it, or what?
So you're always trying to figure things out, and you just can't figure this stuff out. Krishna has to reveal it, or it's bogus. That's the whole point here, that this mental speculation is not going to bring you into devotional service. There is a limit to what knowledge can accomplish. Knowledge can help you get rid of things that are not devotional service, but it cannot help you to realize the things that are devotional service. You understand the difference? It's a negative thing. Huh? Like a doctor may give a patient the instruction, don't eat this, don't do this, don't, no more standing on your head. Huh? That's why you have those lumps on your head. See? Don't do this, don't do that. Huh? But then he may give a positive prescription. You do this and you do that. You take this medicine and you do this exercise and so on like that. Okay? So in the literature on devotional service, there are negative and positive prescriptions, both. Right? And that's part of the knowledge of devotional service. But the purpose of all those instructions is simply to prepare you for actual devotional service. Yama niyama. Yama niyama. It's all preliminary. Once you actually are cured of the material disease, the material contamination, then you can perform actual devotional service. See? All this right now is just practice. And it may be 20, 30 years of practice before you get to actual devotional service. See, spontaneous, pure devotional service. And even then it may take some time to reach bhava like that. But until you reach bhava and you know really what your mood is, it's not really complete devotional service. It's incomplete in some way. So there's a long, long path ahead, you see. Don't be in a rush to get there. Don't be trying to figure it all out. You can't figure these things out. And if you do, you get a wrong answer. You get a wrong answer, and then you may go off on that track for, who knows how long before it finally crashes, and you realize, oh, that was a blind alley. Then you have to go back, start all over again. Oh, it's so hard. Don't waste your time. If you don't waste time in that way, that will shorten the whole period of preparation. If you do, you can waste. I know devotees. Remember 2 or 3 years ago there was this question from a devotee. I've been chanting for 20, 25 years, and I feel like I haven't made any advancement. Oh, how terrible. I mean, really, that's so horrible. But the atmosphere that my God brothers created by their wrong preaching, by their wrong understanding, makes stuff like that happen. Where a devotee can be chanting 20, 25 years, and they feel like they're just as neophyte as the day they first walked into the temple. You see? Just like I was talking to one devotee today, I even posted this email on the forum, that ISKCON measured the wrong thing. They started measuring how many books, how much money was collected, how many books were sold, instead of how many nice relationships did we create. See? I actually went to do that. I did this research. I actually went out with a clipboard and I would stop people on the street and I would give them a survey. Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions about your opinions on yoga and spiritual life. And then I would ask them, have you ever practiced yoga? What kind? How long? Da, 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 da. And gradually I would get around to, did you ever hear of the Hare Krishna movement? Did you ever get a book from the Hare Krishna movement? What did you think of it? Did you read it? Did it change your life? Da, 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 da. I had all these questions, a whole, 2 pages of questions that I would ask people. And I did this with hundreds, if not thousands of people. And almost unanimously, very consistently, each one of them said, I never read the book. And I said, why? I said, well, the guy who sold it to me, he gypped me out of a $20 bill and then, practically forced the book down my throat. And, You know, I was so disgusted, I just gave him the money to get rid of him, and then I threw the book in the garbage can. So then the devotee would go back to the temple and say, hey, I sold 10 books today. Oh, that's great, Bhakta Mike. How much did you collect? I collected $200. Wow, that's fantastic. Go do it again tomorrow. And they forgot to mention that, oh, none of these people have any intention of reading this book because of the way in which it was received. They didn't think about that at all. They didn't get any contact information from the people they sold the books to. They didn't follow up with any of these people. They didn't do any quality control, and nothing. Because they were measuring the wrong thing. They were measuring how many books were sold, how much money was collected, instead of what was the quality of the relationship that was established by that transaction. See? And because they were measuring the wrong thing, they got the wrong result.